Sure, happy to. So yes, I'm Jen Mendez. I have two young children, 2 and 3 years old. And my background is that I am a stay-at-home mom, but I also am an educator that's gone rogue. I have worked overseas in international schools, public schools, private schools. I've worked with early childhood through upper elementary. And although I work with some really incredible folks, I just found myself in a place where when I chose to have children, I knew that I wanted to do something different. And I knew that for me and my family, and then now that I have my 2 young ones and I'm getting to know them and who they are as people, the traditional education system just isn't a good fit. And so you combine a passion and a love that I have for kids and for education with an enthusiasm for something that we call permaculture. And permaculture is just simply an ethical design science methodology. So it's very much an approach, and you usually see it out in your yard, right? So if people have edible landscaping, fruit trees, berry bushes, you know, you want to be able to do these things to take care of yourself and your family. That tends to be this methodology. And I found myself really excited about these 2 things. And I realized very quickly that they mesh together quite well. Mm-hmm. And that the framework, this scientific approach to how we can look at creating, or I should say designing, self-sustaining and thriving ecosystems apply to be able to design education that empowers our children in learning in life, and that empowers our children to approach learning through this ecosystem approach. So I have started what I call PERMIE KIDs, and PERMIE KIDs is simply a community. It's a community of people coming together, taking responsibility together to design an education that is done with our children, for our children, not children in general, but with and for our children. And an education that empowers them in learning and in life, and does so with a foundation of we want to care for people and we want to care for the earth. And so I guess, you know, the idea is that as a community we're coming together, and there are people from around the world that are stepping forward and saying, I need something different for my kids, for my family. I even have teachers who are stepping forward and saying, I need to do something different for the students, and I need to figure out a way to do that. And so we come together and collaborate, and together figure out ways that with this basic foundation, with this basic framework of the scientific methodology, how can we take that and use it in a way that's individually appropriate? So that's it, that's what we do. We come together and we collaborate and we share. Great question. So it is where you are and finding what works for you and for your children. So everything that we do, it has an online component and also has the ability to connect with a physically local community as well. But most of what we do starts with the online piece. And so we come together and we say, you know, here are some of the questions we have. Here are some of the concerns I have. Here are some of the things, you know, I'm thinking about homeschooling for some of the people. But, you know, if I do that, I'm not sure I know how to document what's needed so that I can satisfy the state's requirements. So how do I do that? So then I help connect that person with those questions, not just with me, but with our community, to see how people are addressing that and going about it, so that that person now has choice about how they do it. And together then we can take that and we can incorporate that into our educational framework. So what we have are homeschoolers, we have unschoolers, we have teachers who are classroom teachers in both traditional and alternative schools who are part of this community. We have individuals who used to be teachers and who now work for organizations, oftentimes that want to bring things like school gardens into a school setting, so bringing a little bit of the alternative piece into the system. and how do they navigate that water, and then how do they get support from the parents, right, from traditional teachers. And so a community like this allows us all to collaborate. And then what I do is not only help facilitate this collaboration that's happening, but help design a framework and actual materials and guidance, and not so much formal courses, but more of a one-on-one personal relationship to help each individual out there navigate the situation they're in. And how do you go from, in many cases, parents who have kids already in a traditional system, how do you navigate taking them out and doing something different, and what can that look like, and how can you realize that you are empowered to do that, that we are all educators. So in PERMIE Kids, I use the word educators, but educators simply means anyone and everyone who's in the life of a child. That includes the parent, that includes if the child goes to a school, maybe the teachers or the educators or the learning center they go to. It includes the grandparent who watches the child on the weekend, and it most definitely includes the child themselves. And so we come together and we get to collaborate, and then I help design a framework and actual guidance on here's what you need to do to understand who you are as an educator, if you're going to take on that role as a homeschooling parent, for example. And here's what you need to do to help understand your child. And here's what you need to do to design an education with them that is meaningful and personalized for that child or for the children in your life. And so I create materials as well. So we have the community collaboration piece that we do, which is both online. We do that through video hangouts, through Google Hangout. We call those Edge Alliances. That's where people can connect. And then I also have the component of actually producing documents and things that you can take and use. And you know, I have the ability for people to reach out, and we have one-on-one discussions and guide you through how do you do this, and what questions do you have, because the questions that I find people asking are the same questions that many other people have. And they feel like they're in this bubble. They feel like I'm alone and I don't know how to navigate these waters. And so what I want to do with PERMIE Kids is empower each of us to realize together we can take responsibility for this and for our children and design an education that works and recognize and value and honor all of the different ways that we can do that. So that although we have this grounding foundation in the ethics of care of people and care of earth, how you go about that depending on where you are in the world, when you are in the world, and your personal situation and the child themselves, their own interests, will look a little different. And it's not just about me or someone else coming up with one set curriculum. It's about you taking this framework, finding something that works for you, sharing it back to the community. And so then as a community, we end up having not only one, not 10, not dozens, but potentially hundreds and thousands of options that you can take, you can build. It's almost like a modular, you know, like Legos, right? And you can take and you have all these Legos in front of you, and then what you design is up to you and your vision. But I'm helping provide the Legos. And it's not just through me, it's through the community. So that's really what we're looking to do and where we're at. And if anyone wants to check it out, please feel free, you know, and you can join us for an Edge Alliance. If you have questions, email me directly. I'm happy to talk one-on-one, either over the phone or you want to do something over the internet. That's what I'm here for. I found that, you know, because of my background, feel like I am competent and empowered to do this for my children. And I want to help others realize that you are as well. It does sometimes, I think, feel like I don't know what's in front of me. Do I dare take a step forward? And I think it's important to recognize that there are many others that feel the same way. And if we can connect with one another, we can empower one another. And ultimately, to paraphrase Bill Mollison, the only ethical solution is to take responsibility for ourselves and that of our children. And that starts with the education that we and our children choose for ourselves together